Let's turn now to a big story here this week. We're taking a closer look at the tech trade. Nvidia is the next big test for the market when you take into account earnings. But as it stands right now, you got to look at the moves that we've seen in Nvidia today and this week. Taking a look at today's moves, you're looking at another day of losses off nearly 7%. As it stands right now, when you take a look at tech overall, the NASDAQ 100 is down more than 5% this month, meaning that August is already tracking for the worst month of the year. And we're only in day 2 of the trading day here for the month of August. So here to discuss what's ahead for tech, we want to bring in Ayako Yoshioka, a senior portfolio manager at Wealth Enhancement Group. It's great to have you, Ayoko, and thanks so much for taking the time to join us here this morning. I'm curious, we can start with Nvidia because that certainly has been a wild, volatile ride here this week. I think the initial read on some of these big tech earnings reports was that the spending that's planned here for AI, that is actually viewed very positively here for names like Nvidia. But since then, we've seen some selling action. So I'm curious what your big takeaway from this week's crazy week that has been is so far.
It's been definitely a much more volatile week than we are used to in markets. But we, started, I think, July with the VIX at 12. And so, perhaps markets were a little bit complacent, going into earnings season here. And so, now that we've had a good look at many of the tech earnings, we did see that spend and most likely going to NVIDIA for their GPUs. However, sentiment and the earnings bar was very high going into earnings season. And I think you're seeing a lot of that sort of come out just because expectations were very high. And the reports were okay, but nothing great.
Is any dip that we see in Nvidia still a buying opportunity?
So I think with Nvidia, you have to be patient and, you don't have to go all in right here, right now. When momentum starts to roll both on the upside as well as on the downside, it tends to continue a little bit. So, for investors, we think you should get comfortable with some of the volatility. If you don't like seeing the stock down 6 to 7% on a daily basis, it shouldn't be something that, you should put in your portfolio. However, the long-term aspect, and again, depending upon your time frame, it could be a great opportunity simply because, AI has very long legs, especially as so many companies are investing in what the potential could be with AI.
And taking a look at some of your top holdings here, Microsoft, Amazon, Meta, amongst the names in there, among the tech giants here. I'm curious, coming off of these earnings prints that we've gotten this week, then who do you think is best positioned at this stage, at least for the next couple of quarters?
Funny enough, I think when you look at it from this CapEx lens that everybody's been talking about, Apple is up today. And, Apple only spent $2 billion in CapEx this quarter. And, their CapEx spend continues to stay pretty low, which means that they have a lot more free cash flow at their disposal to return to shareholders. And in this environment in which the economy is moderating and we're a little bit more concerned that the data is getting worse, that's kind of the area that you want to be in because you know that you're going to get that return back as a shareholder. Right now, some of the other companies are growing quite a bit, Microsoft, Amazon, and they will continue to grow, over the next several years. However, in the short term, you may not be getting that return back in terms of free cash flow.
For Apple, there is a lot of hope about an upgrade cycle to come with Apple Intelligence leading to, an upgrade cycle because people want an iPhone that has these AI tools. How confident are you that that's actually going to come to fruition?
It's tough. I think, behavior for most people is difficult, and especially in the economic backdrop that we do have right now, where people are scaling back on spending. And, unless you really have a compelling argument to switch and upgrade your phone, it's tough to shell out another $1,000 or more for a new phone. So I think Apple's really going to have to demonstrate the value proposition of having all of those AI capabilities within their phone.
All right, we're going to have to leave it there. Really appreciate you joining us, Ayako Yoshioka, Senior Portfolio Manager at Wealth Enhancement Group. Thanks so much.